Welcome back to the Delmarva Almanac. Here's Scott Duncan with the April Garden Planner.
During April, gardening gets underway in earnest. Local garden centers are getting annuals and perennials in just in time for clearing skies and warmer temperatures. By the end of the month, overnight frosts are rare but not unheard of for most of Delmarva. Plant bare root trees, shrubs, and roses. Also container-grown trees, shrubs, perennial herbs, and flowers. And even some perennial fruits and vegetables. If you didn't do it in the fall, divide perennials now once they have foliage at least a couple of inches tall. Cut back last year's dead ornamental grasses like liriope to about 5 inches, being careful not to cut any new growth. Clear out the debris and muck from your pond or water garden and put it in the compost bin. Plant germinated seeds you have started indoors when the small plants start to look healthy and have a number of leaf sets. Protect seedlings from cold with mulch or hay. Deadhead spring-blooming bulbs to give energy back to the roots for next year's growth. Fertilize roses organically by working compost or fish emulsion in around the base of the shrub every 6 weeks or so. Note that some rose fertilizers include a systemic pesticide which allows you to feed and prevent pests at the same time. However, these pesticides can also kill butterflies and beneficial insects. Always read the labels on garden products.
Thanks, Scott. Recently, we brought you an interview with Jack Holland of the Somerset County Garden Club about the upcoming Daffodil Show, April 2nd and 3rd in Princess Anne. We also talked about having gardens in bloom for all 3 growing seasons, spring, summer, and fall. Many of the flowers Jack prefers have to be started from bulbs in the fall, but there is one annual he relies on for continuous color even through the arid days of August.
Usually daffodils in March and April, irises in May, peonies at the end of May, daylilies in June and July. I don't have too much going in August because it is so hot, but the zinnias are usually blooming at that time. If I were going to grow something in the fall, I'd probably grow chrysanthemums. I have a few of them, but I'm not into them as big as the other areas I talked about. But the zinnias are still blooming into the fall. The zinnia seeds I just plant outside. Usually you have to look and see how the weather's doing, but usually it's about April 15th is when we get our last freeze, but it can vary. Whenever the soil is starting to warm up, depending on what you're planting. I mean, you can plant peas the last week in February and onion sets. You can plant nasturtium seed the last week in March. But most of the tender things, will succumb to a frost, so you just have to wait. I don't really have a good window in my house for starting seeds inside, and I didn't want to fuss with the grow lights and everything, but a lot of people have great success at this. But for what I'm doing, I just wait until it's warm enough and sow them outside.
Don't miss those daffodils April 2nd and 3rd in Princess Anne at the annual Daffodil Show. And coming up in the Home and Garden calendar, on April 5th at the Carvel Research and Education Center in Georgetown, Delaware, Master Gardeners Penny Diner and Wes Beers will present a workshop entitled Gardening in Squares. Learn about this method which focuses on productive vegetable and flower gardening in small spaces. April 8th at the Lower Shore Land Trust office in Berlin, Maryland, Mike Dryden from the Nature Conservancy and Brian Jennings from the Maryland Department of Natural Resources will talk about restoration along the Pocomoke. Their presentation will be followed by a tour of wetland efforts to improve water quality. And on April 9th, there will be a lawn fertilizer workshop and a native plant sale at the Chester River Association in Chestertown. Learn how to reduce lawn fertilizer use throughout our watershed and incorporate more native plants into your landscaping. Find out more about gardening and related events on our website, delmarvaalmanac.com/gardening. Well, that's all for this edition of the Delmarva Almanac. Be sure to follow us on Facebook or Twitter, and next week join us to learn more about our local culture and get connected to our natural wonders. If you'd like to become an underwriter for this program, visit delmarvaalmanac.com/support. We'd like to thank our community partners, the Friends of Delmarva Public Radio, the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, and underwriters eatdrinkbuyart.com for their help in bringing this program to you, our audience. Our theme music was provided by Brightside Studio. This show has been a Moonshell production. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, may the rhythms and tides of Delmarva bring you good fortune.